here today. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Trent and I was Ruth's grandson. I want to first start by saying how grateful that I am for each and every one of you for being here today. And I know I speak on behalf of my entire family when I say that you have the utmost appreciation for all the support, prayers, and condolences that we have received during this time. My family loves to pull me into anything and everything that has to do with giving public speeches, as I typically thoroughly enjoy it. With this type of speech, you understand going in that the delivery of the message is always going to be tough. What you don't realize is how difficult it is to truly write. How do you make sure to say all the right things while risking that you can somehow portray someone's true perfection? I'm sure that most of you have read her obituary outlining all the impact that she had on the Hickory community. All of these accomplishments deserve the highest of praises, but my goal here today is kind of to reflect on the experiences that I had with my grandmother and how that shaped my life today. So without further ado, here's going to be my best attempt. While Ruth was my grandmother, everyone in this room knows without a shadow of a doubt that was not her name. You were not allowed to call her that. She was Nana. That's the only thing you were ever allowed to say or call her was Nana. Every other term, grandma, grandmother, granny, made her absolutely squirm at just hearing the sound of it. I never really understood why this was. I just kind of always thought that she wanted to, be unique or make her even more unique than she already was. There was only one other term that she was allowed to go by, the boss, coined by my grandfather, Joe. He in every Wakefield knows that there was never a decision that was made in that household without her making the final call. It was not from a place or a stance of being controlling, but more of a place of our family looking for wisdom and expertise from our most intelligent family member. Everyone knows that she had the best interest for the entire family at heart, because in her eyes, family was always first. My earliest memories of Nana were actually on family beach trips that we took every year. Sure, I remember all the fun times, being in the water, splashing around, building sand castles, having her chase me and do whatever. But there's one memory from those trips that sticks with me to this very day. When we went on these trips, I would always ride in the car with her, letting her take me from start to finish. As soon as we started, Nana would always do one thing: get a hot cup of black coffee with nothing in it. After a while, for some reason, she never decided to finish the entire cup. So me as a kid, I started getting, curious. I was like, Nana, let me try some of that. Needless to say, she never gave it to me until it was 2 hours after she ordered it, completely cold and just stale as could be. The first time she let me try it, I loved it. I had no idea what good coffee was, what bad coffee was. The only thing I was concerned about is sharing a little tradition with my grandmother. Fast forward to today, my wife can attest there is one way I drink coffee. That's iced, black, with no fluff. So, as funny as that is to kind of talk about, even as a little kid, there's little things like that I still touch my heart every day as I'm getting ready for work and I'm preparing that cup of coffee. Growing up, she had an absolutely outstanding impact on my education. From being a teacher for 3 decades herself, she just felt naturally obligated to do anything possible to help me succeed. I can remember her volunteering on multiple occasions to come read books for my elementary school classes, and in those moments she had so much charisma, so much passion, just glowing energy that always captivated the entire classroom. Being too young for family to truly embarrass you at that point, I always remember being so proud of her presence. Every time she came, I remember tapping every one of my classmates at least 5 times, being like, hey, that's my name. She just always knew how to put the biggest smile on my face. This was just the starting point of her emphasis on how important education was. She actually gave me a little incentive plan when I first started 3rd grade that said, okay, every semester that you get straight A's, I will give you a whopping $10, big fat lump sum. So, let me just tell you, boy, did I feel rich twice a year. I took that kind of to heart and made sure that I did something that I knew was making her proud and something that she had put effort into. So from that incentive plan to 3rd grade all the way through the time I graduated high school, she had to give me a crisp $10 bill every single semester. That was just something very small, but just wanted to A, make sure that she knew that I was following in her direction, and B, that she was proud of me. As I continued to grow up, there was one other focus that was at the top of my priority list: sports. Baseball, basketball, football, all year round. With that came an undying support that left me feeling forever grateful. Whether it was flag football, travel baseball, high school playoff games, I swear I don't ever remember a time where I couldn't look up in the stands and see her looking back at me. At any single point, she always had the biggest smile that I knew she was just there to root me on. She would always wait after every single game, even hours if it took that, to make sure that she saw me, spoke to me, told me how proud she was of me and that she loved me. It's easy for a lot of kids to get older and prioritize friends and relationships over family support. I knew this could never be the case with me. Her unwavering persistence was a beacon of light that I gravitated towards until she saw me play my final game. Craziest part about this, you might ask, I'm not the only grandchild. There's 3 other grandkids that are all older than me that were playing every sport under the sun. She chased us around like a crazy woman, but never missed a single game. That dedication just blows my mind, and to be honest with you, it truly shows how important her grandkids were to her. Anything that she could do to show her love for us was always on the top of her mind. In the summertime, I was obviously out of school with only trouble to get into, so guess that who left to watch me? You guessed it, my beloved Nana. I think that if you think that meant just kind of sitting around her house until my parents got off work, you're sadly mistaken. Our typical day would start out with one thing: completing the crossword puzzle in the daily paper. I never saw a day where she was not able to complete the entire thing. She tried to let me help, but let's be honest, she was spoon feeding me every single clue until I got maybe one right. But it really didn't matter to me. I could care less about knowing the answers. I simply enjoyed us playing a game and accomplishing a goal together. After completing our puzzle, the next stop was always lunch, which she let me decide because, let's be honest, I was a super picky eater as a kid. I remember going to Windy City Grill and every little restaurant known to man that sits on 127 right there. We tried them all. So after we would get lunch, the afternoons consisted of playtime for me, whether that was her taking me to the park or chasing me around the backyard, throwing me balls while I tried to hit them over her house, anything that she could do until my parents picked me up. On many occasions, she would take me to see a musical, play, production of some sort, and surprisingly enough, I actually loved going and got the biggest kick out of the actors performing on stage. My parents sitting down here up front will both tell you that public communication in front of large groups of people is not necessarily their strong suit. So I truly believe that my love for giving speeches stimulates from watching all those plays with her for all those years. I was in awe and wanted to be cool like those people. And I guess I can thank her for giving me the ability to be capable and confident enough here with you guys today. Nana was the ultimate entertainer, whether it was holiday parties for all friends and family or hosting a plethora of different card games. I think I met close to 100 people here that were in the Bridge Club already today. So she definitely loved her card games. But for all of you that have been to one of her parties, you know that she couldn't make them plain or simple. She always used her nicest fine china and made the house look like that you were going to a debutante ball. She did care tremendously about her fine china. I will say this, so much as a kid that she told me that Freddy Krueger lived behind the china cabinet. What did that do? Made me not go close to it, and it also kept her from not getting all of her fine china destroyed. So I think we came out lucky on that end. As I grew older, though, I did have one responsibilities for these parties that she would throw. I'd get a call saying, "Hey Trent, Bridge Club's on Wednesday. Can you come by into the artwork on Tuesday?" There was never a single time the answer was no. I knew those times made her so happy, and anything that I could do to help was just a scratch on the surface for what she had done for me. In more recent years, we've made it a priority that my parents, my wife, Nana, and myself would often meet for dinners. One of our favorite places was Big Daddy's on Lake Norman. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there. As mentioned previously, Nana enjoyed the finer things in life, and we both shared 2 common loves: oysters and crab legs. I swear there was never a single time that we went where where she didn't order absolutely way too much food that we could never finish. She would, I think her agenda was that she was trying to order all this food so she could force it on me and cure this stick figure body that I was unfortunately blessed with, but that was one of the only things that Nana was not successful in doing. I remember we would have the best dinners just sitting side by side, laughing the entire time, the smallest and silliest little jokes, and truly I would give nothing more than to have one more of those dinners with her. Speaking of food, wow, oh wow. If you have never had Nana's cooking, you've missed out on the best cook in all of Hickory. She had recipes upon recipes of dishes, anything like you've ever had. So many meals that just left your mouth absolutely watering. The funny part about this, all the dishes she ever made, none were fit to eat. Never understood that, but she would always deliver the plate saying it's not fit to eat because of some minor little detail that she felt like could have made it absolutely perfect. It was so unfit to eat that she was able to take this food and make a very successful catering business out of it that allowed her to ultimately travel the world. I never understood this for the longest time, and always just thought it was a little Nana joke. But the older I got, the more I realized it wasn't a joke, but just one way of showing her sense of humility. She was never arrogant, braggadocious, or boastful in any manner. She was always so humble about everything she did for everyone, never needing any sort of praise. Over the last few years, there's been one glaring agenda on the top of Nana's mind. My now wife and I, Paige, started dating a little over 3.5 years ago. From the first moment she met Paige, she fell in love with her. With that, love meant one thing for me: constant pressure to marry Paige immediately. Every time I saw her, she was always saying the same thing. When are you going to marry Paige? You have to get married before I get too old because I refuse to miss it. Well, thankfully, I was able to make her wish come true, and the refuse to miss it part was never taken more seriously. She was 91 years old, diagnosed with pneumonia the day of my wedding. You think that stopped her? Absolutely not. Not only did she show up wearing a mask, but she was able to give me the best final memory possible. She agreed to be our flower girl, and I would argue there was no better flower girl in the planet. I can still see her walking down the aisle, throwing petals as far as she could, laughing the entire time. Her smile was so big, it was peeking out of both sides of her mask. I knew this meant the world to her, but it truly made mine and my wife's wedding day. I was so happy in that moment and had no way of realizing it would be our final moments together. Selfishly, the memory of me hugging her after getting down the aisle was the last memory I gravitate towards. It was a true cultivation of everything she had dreamed of for me in my entire life. She knew I was in the perfect spot thanks to her. The world is full of constant movement and changes. There's a few things that you could always count on from Nana. She was a ride or die for anyone in her circle. Whether that meant family or friends, she was always available to help in any way she could. With that being said, if you were not in her circle, you better watch out. Defending her loved ones came at a price, and that price was always paid by the recipient of whoever Nana was talking to. The only thing that she may have been more adamant about than defending her loved ones, you guessed it, North Carolina basketball. Holy cow. If you have never watched a North Carolina basketball game with her, you certainly have better hearing drums than the rest of us. I have never seen more care, passion for anything in my entire life. Start to finish, there was a comment or a scream about every single possession during the entire game. I honestly loved it, and being in her presence for those moments just made me laugh so much. Nana was unfortunately not laughing when I told her that I was wanting to go to South Carolina over North Carolina, and when she realized I was not joking with her, she did not get upset, but she quickly changed her disappointment to, again, a level of unwavering support, even if I was going to one of her rivals. She became a fan, truly just for me. The last thing I want to speak on is her consistency. There was never a time I saw my Nana where two things didn't happen. As soon as I arrived, I would be met with a hug and kiss on the cheek. The same hug and kiss was always given before I left, but there was one thing different. She always made a point to tell me how much she loved me. Not a simple love you, Trent, but a genuine compassion where you could feel her heart speaking to you. There was never any room for interpretation about how my grandmother felt about me or the entire family. Do people still sing to you guys on your birthday? Well, guess what? If you're a Wakefield, you can count on one thing to start your birthday. Bright and early in the morning, you're going to get a phone call from Nana, and as soon as you answer that phone call, she's going to sing you happy birthday. I swear in all the 28 years that I've been on this earth, she never once missed it. And that speaks to her true character of how much her family means to her. There's a couple of things that bring me joy in today. For starters, all of you being here to support her certainly has me grinning from ear to ear as she looks down on us from above. She would want us to be happy and celebrate her life instead of mourning this loss. The other thing that makes me happy is know that she is reunited with her true love, Grandpa Joe. She has missed him more than anything these last few years. Knowing they are back together gives me an indescribable happiness. The boss is back where she belongs, and the Wakefields can make decisions as our angels guide us through this life. We have lost the glue to this family, the one person who keeps us together. But we will stay strong and remember, loss creates growth. It may be hard in the moment, but I know our family will work together to uphold all the traditions she has passed down. It truly is never a goodbye, but we will see you again. Until that day comes, we will honor the legacy that you have created to our highest ability. We thank you all for the amazing life that you lived, the 91 years you blessed this community, and love you more than words could ever describe. Rest easy, Nana. We all love you. Nana has also requested me to read the poem that was delivered for her husband Joe during his funeral and his passing, so I'm going to read that now. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints of snow. I am the sunlight of a ripened grain. I am the autumn's gentle rain. When you awake in the morning blush, I am the swift uplifting rush of the quiet birds in circled flight. I am the brightest star that shines at night. Do not stand by my grave and cry. I am not there. I did not die. Thank you very much.